Mr. Saldarini?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Curry? Mr. D'Angelo?
Here.
Ms. Davis?
Here.
Mr. De Silva?
Here.
Mr. Denise?
Here.
Mr. Gallo?
Here.
Ms. Conoco?
Here.
And Ms. Barron.
Here. Adequate notice of agenda of this meeting has been provided to the Ridgewood News, specifying that the Mahwah Board of Education will meet on May 4th, 2016, in the administrative offices, 60 Ridge Road, Mahwah, New Jersey. A copy was filed with the township clerk. Doug, would you like to lead us in this
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like a motion to recess to executive session. I'm sorry. Oh, we don't need it. I'm sorry. We do not have. Vote against the motion. You don't need it. I didn't cross that off my list. Okay, we have agenda questions. Please limit your questions at this time to resolutions under new business on this agenda. As a matter of fairness, you are asked to limit your questions to no more than one and your remarks to no longer than 3 minutes. If you are here representing a group, please identify yourself, the group, and your position in the group. If you are here as an individual, please give us your name and address. This section of public participation will be limited to 15 minutes. Please specify the resolution you are referring to in your question. Okay, thank you. We have the superintendent's report.
Good evening, everyone. Our agenda this evening, Resolution 16C, includes a recommendation for Mr. John Brennan as principal of Betsy Ross School beginning July 1st. Mr. Brennan's recommendation follows extensive interviews by our interview panel and second interviews by central office administrators. Mr. Brennan comes to us with 10 years of principal experience, the last 7 years spent as elementary school principal in Hardiston Township. In this capacity, Mr. Brennan was characterized by his references as being an effective instructional leader, having cultivated a school culture that is comfortable for staff members and safe and fun for students. Mr. Brennan has been very visible to the community, works really well with all staff members, has a great sense of humor, and is a great, honest guy. Through Mr. Brennan's interviews, the committee shared that Mr. Brennan would be a strong fit for Mahwah Township Public Schools, and his passion for excellence became clear. Mr. Brennan is here this evening, and following the vote on his resolution, perhaps we can introduce him and give them the opportunity to say hi. If you would just wave, Mr. Brennan, so they can put a face with the name. Okay, good to go. Thank you. That's it for this evening.
Thank you. We have the business administrator's report.
Okay, final presentation of the 16-17 budget. So if you bear with me just one moment while I get it on screen. Okay, thank you very much. As I said, this is the final presentation on the 2016-2017 budget that has been presented over the past few meetings. We've done it in a couple different sections. Tonight is the official budget hearing for the budget to go into effect July 1, 2016 for June 30, 2017. So as we have said at our first meeting, when the preliminary budget was adopted on March 18th, the revenues for the budget for 2016-2017 come from several different places. Primarily local tax levy of $60,977,358 to fund the overall budget. State aid in the amount of $2,346,236. Fund balance is being utilized for operating and debt service purposes of $1,784,295. There is going to be a transfer to help fund the budget from capital reserve to support some capital projects. Grants, those are both state and federal grants that we receive in the amount of $807,000. And then lastly is other miscellaneous sources of revenue, extraordinary aid, semi-initiative funds that we receive, interest on our funds available as well. in the amount of $516,046 to give a grand total budget, again, for the overall budget for all categories and funds of $67,604,935. Some of the largest expenditure categories within the budget, salaries primarily is number one, $33,514,071. Benefits and tuition follow that. Maintenance of $4,868,191. Transportation, and lastly, debt service of $2,515,387. These are to fund, that is to fund prior obligations on debt that have been approved in the past years. As I said before, there is going to be a transfer of about $1.174 million from capital reserve. These are to fund a couple of projects that we are anticipating to do next year. The athletic field turf replacement at a little bit over $500,000. Boiler replacement at 3 schools, that's George Washington, Betsy Ross, and here at the high school. Improvements over at Building 5 and roof replacement at Building 8. Both the boiler and the roof projects should be going out to bid very shortly, and we anticipate awarding those sometime next month in June. As far as staffing, we had discussed this at the, it was the April 2nd meeting, the second presentation that was conducted. There's going to be a decrease, or an anticipated decrease of 5 non-instructional paraprofessionals in the district for next year. Some certificated staff we discussed in length at that meeting of different additions and potential reductions to staff at that time. It affects a net decrease of 2 certificated staff. And then there's going to be 1 additional district-wide technology assistant who will be starting on July 1 as well. We have plans in place to have that happen. As far as tax information, the overall net valuation taxable for the township of Mahwah, this is for the entire township, is $5,691,438,030. When you take that and apply the tax levy that we had spoken about earlier of a little bit over $60 million, that gives you 2016 school tax rate of 1.069. Again, multiply that for what this actual school tax would be, so on that, roughly every $100,000 of home value, the school tax is going to be $1,060.90. And as a comparison from the 2015 calendar year, it represents an increase of $18.90 for the year. That again is the last slide for the budget presentation to give you a history of how we have arrived here. Back on March 16th, we did the presentation of the preliminary budget. March 30th, we spoke about some of the staffing and benefits, and the last meeting, April 20th, non-personnel line items and some capital projects. Tonight is the final budget, a summation of the previous 3 meetings, and I open up to any questions from the board. Thank you very much.
So just regarding the.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Kyle. I'd like to have the Assistant Superintendent's report.
Sure. Agenda item A, we have the retirement of Karen Hansen, who is a special education mathematics teacher. Can everyone hear me? Oh, they said yes.
That microphone, choose it.
All right.
All right.
Fancy looking. Karen Hansen is a special education mathematics teacher up at the high school. She is retiring, and according to her colleagues, her supervisor, as well as her building principal, Karen is characterized as kind, compassionate, caring, and optimistic. She has a strength in developing mathematical skills in our special education students. She's always with students. If you're visiting the high school, she is there with students in the cafeteria for lunch supervision. She's with students all day, and then even after school for dismissal, she's in the front of the building. She's dependable, responsible, and highly professional, and according to her principal, Karen works particularly well with parents, and she communicates with them often. We wish Karen the best in her retirement. The second item, I just wanted to introduce Miss Maureen Lynch again. Hi, Maureen. Maureen was approved at last meeting with for the position of Supervisor of English Language Arts, grades 6 through 12, and we're excited to have her. And last but not least, we are in the process of setting up the interviews for the middle school principal position. We have set up a panel that consists of 8 people, including teachers, administrators, and central office. We'll be interviewing 11 potential candidates this upcoming Friday, as well as this upcoming Monday. And from there, our goal is to select 3 finalists to meet with central office. And we hope to have someone for the next Board of Ed agenda. And that's it.
Okay, thank you very much. President's report. I would like to congratulate the Mahwah High School track team that earned the gold at the Penn Relays. So congratulations go to Coach Parker and the boys' 1600 meter relay team for capturing the gold on Saturday, April 30th at the Penn Relays. Evan, Ebner, Connor, James, and Jay did a wonderful job, and they earned this achievement at the Track and Field Championships held at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. This marks the first time in school history Mahwah High School has run away with the top trophy from this prestigious event. Way to go, T-Birds. Also, praise has to go out to the cast and crew of Once Upon a Mattress. I saw the performance on Saturday evening, and I thought they did a fantastic job. So I really want to let you know what a wonderful, wonderful presentation they gave performance. And last but not least, the Jazz Thunder rocked the house. Mahwah High School Jazz Band Thunder earned a gold rating at the Livingston High School Jazz Festival on Saturday night. They won awards for Best Trombone Section, Saxophone Section, and Rhythm Section. Senior Kevin Kim was selected for the Best Soloist Award. So congratulations to our jazz musicians and their director, Mr. Jeff Bittner. Excellent. Thank you. Now, board committee reports. We have committee reports this evening.
Yes.
We'll go with Rick first because he's the D. I would ask.
For policy, we've got a bunch of first readings in abolition and second readings on 15J, 15K, and L. 15J first readings, 2430 deals with co-curricular participation co-curricular activities. 2431 and 2431.2 are dealing with athletic competition, medical exams before participation. 5460 updates thresholds for high school graduation with the PSAT and NMSQT tests. 15K is abolishing 2425, which is actually wrapped up into 2422, which we approved previously. And 15L are second readings of our 3 policies, one for eligibility of pupils who move out of town, one on health services, and on medical marijuana.
Thank you very much. Mr. Salderini.
Yes, ma'am. There is an instruction and curriculum committee report, which Christine is going to present.
Good evening, everybody. Should I come up with the mic?
That would be wonderful.
Okay. I'm loud, though, you can hear me anyway. Okay, so we had one agenda item for our instructional committee meeting in April. It was Mrs. Trebona, Kristen Trebona, who is our 612 science supervisor, came to talk about the curriculum request, curriculum writing request that you'll see on page 5 of the agenda. Prior to going into the plan for curriculum writing, she talked a little bit about all the fine work she's led with the hard work of her teachers in understanding the next generation science standards, which go into place for grades 6, 12 in September, hence the curriculum writing for this summer. She talked about the next generation science standards, gave a little synopsis, and I'll give that to you tonight. The focus is on 3 bullet points: hands-on science and engineering practices, real-world connection to science concepts, and strong coordination with math, literacy, and writing. And it's really working and thinking like a scientist, right? Get kids not just to think about these as facts, but how do you think like a scientist and problem solve and look at cases. Really exciting stuff. But it took a big shift for our teachers to understand that. So Kristen talked to us about the professional development that she's done with her teachers over the last few years. The 2014-15 school year, it was reading the standards and getting to understand them. What does it mean? It was a big departure from the past standards. And this past year, they really delved into it and talked about what would that curriculum look like, and did lots of brainstorming about that. So they had ideas from the entire department, 612, and now we've whittled it down to the people who will do the actual writing from all the ideas of everybody in the department. So Kristen's done a great job, as have her teachers. So we're looking forward to what those curricula will look like. We'll have them to the board in August for approval and implementation in September. A couple of her teachers and I are going next Wednesday to Northern Highlands for a countywide assessment writing for the NGSS and for curriculum, so we're looking forward to what that will bring us. Great collaborative work among the county. And Kristen is also going to help me bring the NGSS to elementary. Elementary gets an extra year from the state, so next year they do the studying and the following summer they do the writing.
If I may interrupt, Christine is now serving as one of the 3 tri-presidents of the Bergen County Curriculum Consortium. So all those directors are going to have a great president with them. So congratulations. I wanted the board to know I didn't
Thank you. Proud to represent Mahwah everywhere we go.
And you do.
Thank you. Do you have any board member remarks or additional comments?
I can do negotiation committee
Thank you.
update. So on Tuesday, we met with a fact finder. That's the PERC process that we spoke about a couple of meetings ago. The way that process basically works is it's formal presentation by both sides of the facts as they see them or research them. The way the process works is on behalf of the NEA, the NJEA, presented for about 90 minutes. They make a presentation about different facts associated with the district, financial performance, school performance, taxes, etc. Our consultant for the district, Ray Cassetta, provided his presentation. That took about 20 minutes. At the end of that, the fact finder will wait for any additional materials that are to be provided by either side. On the district side, we're essentially complete. We've done what we need to do. On the MEA side, their representative needs some additional time to produce a document for the fact finder's consideration. After the fact finder has all the information, he indicated he needs roughly 4 to 6 weeks to produce his final report. His final report will be in the form of a non-binding recommendation. That recommendation, once it's provided to us, will be a public document. And what the fact finder basically reiterated to all parties is that you can continue to meet, you can continue to negotiate, you need not be held up by his process. And so we reiterated our interest in continuing to talk. There was good response from NJEA on that front. On a separate track, we are continuing to do the work that we started after our session on the 31st. We hope to have something over the next 10 days or so, and we'll use that information to try to schedule something with the MEA to keep working at it. On a separate track, the MEA had expressed willingness to listen to our insurance rep with respect to different issues associated with healthcare cost plans, and we're continuing to try to get that scheduled. So that's a short stroke. I don't know if any committee members have anything to add to that, but that's it. Mike.
Very good.
All right.
Okay, any other remarks, any board members? Yeah, we have old business. May I have a resolution, or nice movement for, okay, Rick and Angela. Okay, ready, Bud?
Mr. Salderini.
Yes.
Mr. D'Angelo.
Yes.
Ms. Davis.
Yes.
Mr. De Silva.
Yes.
Mr. Denise.
Yes.
Mr. Gallo.
Yes.
Ms. Conoco.
Yes.
And Ms. Barron.
Yes. Okay, I'd like to take new business, 15A through T. So we got Doug D'Angelo and Mr. Gallo. Second.
Mr. Salderini.
Yes.
Mr. D'Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. De Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Denise?
Yes.
Mr. Gallo?
I am abstaining on 15A, check number 81900, and on 15O. Otherwise, yes on all other items.
Ms. Conica?
Yes.
And Ms. Barron?
Yes. Okay, now I would like to take 16 new business, A and B. So we move on that. Ms. Davis and
Mr. Salderini?
Yes.
Mr. D'Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. De Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Denise?
Yes.
Mr. Gallo?
Yes.
Ms. Conica?
Yes.
And Ms. Barron?
Yes. I'd like to take 16C separately, and I'd like to ask Ms. Davis if she would please read that resolution.
Certainly. Resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Mahwah Board of Education approves the appointment of John Brennan as principal of Betsy Ross School, effective July 1st, 2016.
Thank you. Would someone move that, please? Mr. De Silva and Ms. Conica seconds that.
Okay. On item 16C, Mr. Salderini?
Yes.
Mr. D'Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. De Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Denise?
Welcome and yes.
Mr. Gallo?
Yes.
Ms. Conica?
Yes.
And Ms. Barron?
Yes. Our congratulations, Mr. Brennan. I wanted to say anything, John, but now would be the appropriate time.
I just really want to thank everyone for recommending me and approving me today. I'm really excited to be here. I think I'm the only one in education looking forward to September and summer. But I look forward to many years here in Mahwah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
We're very excited to have you here.
Welcome.
Okay, I'd like to take 16D through double P. Some discussion. Double P, you said PP. Yeah. I didn't know. I didn't say double. That's
Tell me, tell you to say double P.
Do we have any discussion on that first? Moved by D'Angelo, and I have a second on that, Ms. Conica.
Mr. Salderini?
Yes.
Mr. D'Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. De Silva?
Yes.
Mr. Denise?
Yes.
Mr. Gallo?
Yes.
Ms. Conica?
Yes.
And Ms. Barron?
Yes. Okay, we have the public questions or comments. So note this section of public participation will be limited to 15 minutes. Come on up to the microphone.
Christine Ranky for Ivy Lane. Just a quick question, if there's any feedback from the states in the country that are not participating in PARC, but are participating, for me, I don't remember the name of it, but I'm glad Christine is here, the other consortium.
More balanced.
Okay, so is there any feedback from that, how those tests are going, are they experiencing? I'm looking for facts, and feedback is published, not opinion, but if anything has been coming back about how those experiences have gone.
I have not seen nor have I read anything. That's a fact.
I've read mixed,
Okay.
very similar to the park, what I've read about the park.
Christine?
I have read the same, mixed reviews.
Could you be more specific as to what the mix are?
Anything from technology to, technology issues to the test being maybe too difficult for students. I've heard that about the park and the Smarter Balance test. What about you, Chris?
And the Smarter Balanced is an adaptive test, so it's different than PARC
Yes.
in that regard, so, which means that if a student, it changes the next question depending on how students answered the previous one, which is not how the PARC is, so that's got its own issues. I'm not following that closely because we're not currently doing that, just reading widely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. Related to that,
Could you state your name?
Linda Maverich, 86 Island Road. On April 20th, I sent you all an email requesting that our board consider adopting a resolution opposing the use of PARC as a graduation requirement. At the time of my email, 8 New Jersey school boards passed similar resolutions, and since then, 3 additional school boards have followed suit, making it a total of 11 so far. I feel it's important we continue to provide multiple pathways to a high school diploma that includes alternatives not based on standardized tests, especially not tests whose validity and reliability have not been established. I'd like to know if our board would give consideration to doing the same, as I feel it's in the best interest of our students, teachers, and taxpayers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We will give it consideration. We need to talk about this as a board. So if you could just give us some time to discuss it, not at this evening's meeting, because everybody needs to have a look at what the resolution says, and if it's something that we want to adopt, or if it's something we don't want to adopt, if we want to change the wording of it. So if you just give us some time to do that, we appreciate that.
Great.
We'll take that under consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anything else? Okay.
Brooke Gaslow, 552 Adirondack Court. I was just wondering, has any consideration just been looked into about the water fountains? Because I know there's been a lot of issues with the water fountains in different schools, and a bunch of the schools I work in have turned off the water fountains completely, and won't let the kids drink from them at all. So I was just wondering if anything's been looked into.
That's a great question, yes. Timely question, thank you very much. We do have some information here. Last week, in response to the recent media exposure about lead levels in drinking water at public schools, the district tested water sources throughout our facilities. Testing was conducted by the LEW Corporation, and they're an independent environmental testing company with clients throughout the United States. Of all testing conducted, 2 samples came back with levels over the recommended level limits for lead. But these sources were primarily used for hand washing and not as drinking sources. The district has taken these water sources out of service, and corrective actions will be taken. Once completed, these 2 areas will be retested to verify that the lead levels are within the recommended limits. So we were proactive in this, and we did have this company come out and test our water levels.
And we tested our water fountains, ran water fountains in all of our buildings. We also tested the sinks that Pontonian uses as far as food service is concerned, and the nurse's office. So we went through all of that. We were actually pleased with the results that came back. We were proactive, and I'm happy with that. The governor has now said it's going to be mandated come the fall, so we may be doing it again. We're going to do what we can to rectify the situation, and we will retest. So in answer to your question, we're good to go.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, thank you very much. I would like a motion to adjourn, please. Doug Angelo and